Welcome to Murder and Makeouts, where we review books, count cocks, and swoon over morally grey men. My name is Diana.
And I'm Ree, and this is our virtual book club when you can come along with us during the month, read the book with us, and then come back and listen to our chaotic opinions.
But first, we must start, as we always do, with my favourite segment, which is Anything But a Wine Glass, which is where we obviously are drinking while we're doing our book review. And we have to bring to the podcast something to drink our wine out of that's anything but a wine glass. And today, I'm pretty proud of this because last time I don't know, it wasn't particularly funny, but this one, I brought a tomato sauce bottle.
Oh my god.
I don't know if it's similarly me, but I find these bottles really useful, so every time we finish one, I empty them out and keep them, so I filled it with wine.
I was going to ask, have you
It's
cleaned
effective.
it? Did you clean it? Does it give a slight back
No.
taste of tomato?
No.
Oh, that is very Australian. For those who are just listening, Diana squirted the tomato sauce bottle into her mouth and it was stunning. So we're on a similar sort of vein here. So today I have brought an oil dispenser. This is fresh.
They're really
It
heavy.
is fresh. It's got no oil in it. That would be gross. And I'm a bit scared to use it. But anyway, speaking of squirting things into our mouths, this is it. I got myself directly in the face. Anyway. It's really yummy. It's in my eyes. Okay, I'm going to wine the rest of my day.
Anyone who is listening to this, can I recommend that you get onto our YouTube channel and just watch the introduction of this episode, because
That's going to make a clip.
you've got to see the video of Rhiannon
Does it give me a
squirting herself in the face with wine.
Do I have a nice glow to me now? It's just pure wine to the face. What are we drinking as well? I think we need to announce that so I can tell you what new perfume you should all be trying.
We're drinking a New Zealand Sauv Blanc from
Pretty
Kaiora Bay. My pronunciation, despite my New Zealand heritage, is absolutely terrible, but it's actually really good. Again, another Aldi wine. This one's all gold. So I think last month it has a lot of bronzes, or can't remember. Haven't got this one before. Highly recommend. It's delicious. Would not recommend it on the soft palate though.
Don't spray it at yourselves. I don't know why both of us proceeded with things to spray into our faces, and it takes it away, you know, just slightly.
Sauv Blanc.
Yeah, that is what I smell like now, and I'm going to smell like that for the rest of my day, but that's fine.
Alright, we are here to review the book His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Quickly, Rhiannon, what did you rate the book? Me too. So that's the first time we've actually agreed.
Yeah,
You were really
a little bit off.
abusive about my choice.
You abused me last time. You said that. How dare I not give it 5 stars?
That's true. I'm sorry. It was the Hunting Wives where you were very abusive about my choice to rate the book.
Absolutely, and I stand by that. I think it was justified.
I thought it was a good book. I really enjoyed the book. I found it was a book that I wasn't quite, can't put it down, but I was really motivated to keep reading.
It was an easy read. I
It
did
was.
this over like 2 days. I think I smashed this one out. I was supposed to drag it out a little bit over the month, but I could not put it down. I really enjoyed it, which I know actually in hindsight, I think I said in the previous episode, if I can't put it down, that's normally a 5 for me.
Yes.
But
You're
and
very
I'm
contradictory.
contradicting myself, yeah. But I read it really quickly. I enjoyed it. Essentially, to give it like a brief summary, there's a murder, evidently. At the start of the book, a woman's found dead. You have 2 perspectives going on throughout the entire book, his and her perspective. You've got
And the killer.
Sorry, essentially 3 perspectives. You have a couple of tie-ins of the killer's point of view, but mostly it's between his point of view, which is a cop, and then her point of view, and she is a journalist. And initially, you're sort of learning a bit about the 2 characters, and then there is a connection that draws the 2 together. So it sort of plays out over the rest of the book. A lot of linking, a lot of backstory, and it all sort of comes out in the wash.
So we said last month when we announced this book, this was a Netflix TV series.
Yes.
So was Hunting Wives. After reading Hunting Wives, I have no interest in seeing the TV series. Although there is one spicy scene that I do want to go back and have a look at.
Is it the boat
Wives.
shed? Because I
No,
really want to go
no.
witness the boat shed. I want to see how they did it. I need the logistics explained.
No,
I just got to let it go.
no. There's a scene in there that everyone was talking about on social media. It might be Jill. I'm not sure. Having sex with her husband with a strap on. Yeah, which isn't in the book, but it's in the TV series. And I was like, everyone's talking about this scene. I kind of want to go and look at it. Anyway.
This one though, this TV series, I will be looking up.
That's what was going to be my
watch
question.
it.
Like, I would want to watch this TV series. I really enjoyed the book. I loved listening to Richard Armitage. as we know, I'm a big fan of him. I liked the 3 points of view, and I thought it was really interesting and something I picked up on straight away, and I did mention last month when we announced it, that the killer's POV was a muffled voice. And so my first thought was is that because we don't want to be able to know whether it's the male narrator or the female narrator that we're listening to, or are they is it another person but they're trying to disguise the gender? Like, why is it muffled? Because I read another killer POV, The Perfect Psychopath, and in that one there was no differentiation about the different points of view. The narrator was the same voice for all of them. So anyway, I just thought it was really interesting when I first started listening. I was like, oh, okay, why have we done that? I think you read the Kindle.
I read it on Kindle, yeah. I'm not a huge audiobook person. So I read it on Kindle, so there was no different voice in my head. And I was trying to work out, who it was. But my assumption always when starting a book that has two perspectives is that one of them is the bad guy. So I did anticipate it being sort of an unreliable narrator story. I think the back of the book, or even just the front, says if there are two sides to every story, someone is always lying. So to me, that automatically gives, from that being on the front cover of the book, one of the two, his or her perspective, is lying.
Yeah, I did pick up on one of them lying. However, I did not automatically assume that the killer POV meant that person was one of the other two people. I assumed it was a third person. So it's interesting that we went into it with different assumptions there.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have coloured the way we were looking at the characters, especially when we come to later to our guesses of the killer, and our first guesses of the killer.
Yeah.
But who would you recommend this book to?
Anyone that loves a good... Well, it's not necessarily... It starts a little bit slow, and then it picks up very quickly. Yeah. And anyone who likes a good murder mystery... There's a couple of murders in this one. So you get to sort of get all like a serial killer's kind of storyline going, and then it becomes more complicated as the story goes on. Yeah. So anyone that likes a good murder mystery which has a few sort of misdirects going on, I'd be recommending it to a book club. I think there are a lot of discussion points that you can bring up in here. Yeah, I'd recommend it to most people that like a good thriller. This was a great...
Yeah, so if someone told me they liked killer point of view or unreliable narrators, this would definitely be one that I would recommend. It wouldn't be my first recommendation, but I would still say it's worth reading, especially if people have mentioned they saw it on Netflix. I would say, however, trigger warning. Like, we have...
Absolutely.
Like, pregnancy loss or, dead kid kind of trigger warning here. And so maybe that's why I couldn't give it a 5, because it was just too close to home. I was a bit emotional in certain sections when that storyline is being unravelled, and it's critical to the storyline because it is, as with so many real life relationships, it is a critical turning point in many relationships when that kind of experience happens. So I think that's probably for me why I couldn't love it, because it was just a bit much, and there's no trigger warnings in the book. It's something I don't like. Is that they do a lot of trigger warnings in books for all kinds of things, like domestic violence and that sort of stuff, but they don't do trigger warnings for pregnancy loss and those sorts of things. And when you think of the fact that 1 in 3 women experience a miscarriage or a stillbirth, I think that that's a really important trigger warning, and it's something that I'm very passionate about because I don't enjoy reading books with that, and if I had known, I probably wouldn't have picked up this book.
I think there's also a significant amount of sexual assault going on in this book that I think needed a trigger warning as well. And I think the way it was talked about was almost far too casual. Yeah. And I don't think you need much. I think you just need something that sort of highlights that it occurs. It doesn't sort of give anything away to the storyline, I don't think. But there was no trigger warning about that. And I feel like I turned a page and was like, whoa, I'm way too much into this right now. So that was sort of, a little bit uncomfortable, I think, to read in parts. I think it was intentionally uncomfortable, and it helps you for sort of framing how you feel about certain characters. Yeah. But... yeah, there was no sort of warning about any of that going into it.
Maybe also suicide.
Yeah.
Suicide thing as well. So yeah, a couple of trigger warnings. But at the same time, if those triggers don't concern you, it'd still be a book worth recommending. And leading on to that, do you think that you would recommend it to a book club?
Like I said, I think all of those points there are discussion topics. So if it's a book club that, you have discussed trigger warning stuff and what you will and will not accept in a book club, and these sort of things are stuff you want to talk about, then absolutely I think this is a great recommendation for a book club.
Yeah. I would probably say, if somebody asked me would it be a good book club read, my response would be probably not, because there's going to be there's a couple of trigger warnings, in my opinion, and there's going to be somebody in the book club who's not comfortable and wanting to read that. Just, statistically, book clubs are 4 to 6 people. Therefore, the odds are there's going to be somebody there. My book club knows that if a book is chosen that has those themes, they tell me, and I just sit out some months because I just don't want to. Like, there's enough sadness in the world. I don't need to relive that.
You don't need to put yourself through it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's plenty of books. There's so many books I could be reading. So yeah, I just sit out for a month. But like I said, for book clubs that love mysteries and so forth, I think it was a good book, and especially like the ending.
Oh, yeah.
This is a book that has a good twist.
Excellent twist.
Yeah, great twist. If you love a good twist, and you go book club that loves twists like this, had a good twist. But we'll save that for the spoiler section.
Yeah, I think we will. But yeah, at a high level, I think great thriller, great mystery, great twist. All of those sort of elements were there, which was really great. Unreliable narration, which is one of my absolute favourites. That was all there. You've got tropes of family sort of ties and the bonds of family and the bonds of like addictions was definitely part of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was a great book. Yeah,
I mean, we both gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, I think.
Yeah.
And that explains it in itself. But I do think we have to sort of leave the non-spoiler section behind here and move into what worked and didn't work with full spoilers. So if you have not read the book yet, but that sounded intriguing, go read, pause, come back. We are now about to go into some serious spoilers.
Yes. I can't actually say for me that there was nothing in this book that didn't work. I thought everything was tied together nicely. I thought that the fact that there were a select number of characters and the motivation behind the killings was really quite unique. Like the style of killing was unique to each character. The way there were lots of connections that all got pulled in together. To me, I can't put my finger on something. I was like, it didn't work.
Yeah, I felt like I was doing that like... I don't know if you've seen that meme where he has all the pictures on the wall and the little red strings and he's turning around looking like crazed and stuff because he's trying to connect it all together. Yeah. I very much felt like that person. I kept changing in my mind who I thought had done it, why. Each time someone else got killed, I was like, it's got to be, connected to this, or something would come in from left field and I would go, okay, you're trying to confuse me, or are you? Yeah. Like there was a lot of that. It was very fast paced and it had a million sort of like, moments. Yeah. That all sort of connected together. So yeah, I thought it all worked really well. I did have one pet peeve.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily about how the book was written or pacing or anything like that. The central character, Jack. Is it Jack?
Yeah.
Jack.
So, yeah. Husband.
Husband. We'll call him husband. We'll call him his perspective.
His, yeah.
He says, on more than one occasion, enough times that it was starting to piss me off, something along the lines of, man, I just don't understand women. Or, I'm not great with women. Or they're another species, aren't they? Yeah. And it's like, dear God, Jack, read a book. I don't know. Go learn something else. Stop just sitting there claiming that you don't understand how women, man, they're just so confusing.
There was one thing that, and I wouldn't say this didn't work, but it was just something that was kind of, I don't know how to describe it. With the photo, and they're crossing off names in the photo. Like, that was, in a way, building suspense. But at the same time, it was also really obvious who the next person was going to be to die.
Yes.
Because I think at the photo, I can't remember, I just remember the scene in the hotel room where we know in retrospect the killer came in and was moving stuff around and was crossing off the faces. Like, you knew who was going to be next. You knew it was going to be his sister who was going to be next. And so that was in a way a kind of a spoiler or a little anticlimax to kind of know who was next. So I don't know if you could necessarily change that. And given all the other surprises in the book, like it wasn't really that much of a downfall. Like it wasn't that much of a disappointment. But yeah, that was something I was kind of like, oh, well, now I've looked at that. Because who's in the photo? Because they've got...
The 5 friends.
Rachel was dead. Helen was dead. So then Zoe was there, Anna was there, and... But yeah, we didn't know who she was at that point. There was a 5th person who we didn't know who it was.
Yes.
So we're at that point in the book. I'm like, okay, well, Rachel and Helen are dead. Anna's not going to get killed. We don't know the 5th person yet, so they're not going to get killed. So it must be Zoe who's next.
Yes.
So I was like, I suppose it could have been the 5th person, but I also knew from like a story writing perspective that was going to be a plot point later, like the reveal of who the 5th person was.
Yeah, that was clearly a central part of it, that you had to sort of either suspect that person or imagine that person has to be coming next, but we're just not there yet.
Did you guess the 5th person?
No.
I did. I was pretty proud of that. I was like, I reckon it's this chick who was bullied. Because they were putting too much emphasis on it. Like, they were going back in time telling the story of the way these girls were behaving at school and this girl being bullied.
Yes.
I was like, she has to come back in. She somehow was at this party and so like it must be that 5th girl. Like, there's got to be a connection there. Did you pick who she was in the modern day?
No,
neither did I.
I didn't. I actually started thinking it was Priya, and they just messed up the description of the character. I was like, I don't know when she became Indian, but it's got to be Priya. Like, there has to be some sort of connection there. I wasn't picking up on it. And actually, when it was revealed to be Kat Jones, I was like, of course, Catherine Cat. Like, it's so obvious. But no, I wasn't guessing that at all.
Yeah. So I think I didn't pick it until right before the reveal, when she's in the house and she's looking at the mantelpiece and she's looking at the photos and she sees a photo and they're like, oh my God, it's her.
Yeah.
And she just didn't recognise the modern, like the modern day her. So I thought that was clever.
Very clever.
And there's someone who's gone and reinvented themselves. Did not pick the storyline of what happened that night. Blindsided.
I was incredibly blindsided, also incredibly uncomfortable reading it. Like, it just, I wasn't having a good time. Like, there were Rachel's whole storyline of her being kind of like a bit weird with Anna and like all of their sort of thing. She was being a bit weird towards her, but like wasn't that crazy. And then you find out she's like pimping out her friends, which is just awful. Like, it took a full left turn for me.
I felt like Helen and Zoe were into it.
Yeah.
And then Anna and Kat had no idea what was going to happen and were effectively... Well, Anna fought him off.
There's no good way to do that. I'm sorry.
Sorry, for those people listening, Rhiannon was just having a drink from her olive spray bottle. It's great.
Very yummy, and I think I've aerated it nicely. It's delicious.
Now I've lost my train of thought. Oh, I was saying, so I don't think Anna was raped, but Kat clearly was raped, and the inference was she was raped by multiple people because Anna fought them off.
Yes.
And then Anna didn't do anything. And I think there was a bit of judgment by Kat, who was clearly traumatised by everything that happened to her, saying, you didn't help me or whatever. And I think that fails to acknowledge that people in those situations respond very differently. You have to fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
And self-preservation often wins out. And I know the movies make it out like we should all be heroes, but that's a very small proportion. Most people are going to freeze or run. And but anyway, I found that quite surprising. I did not expect that turn. I thought it was drugs. I thought they were selling drugs. I didn't expect that they were basically selling girls.
Yeah.
For sex.
No, it was completely left field for me. It was surprising.
Yeah.
Like, I sort of knew that there was something that was going on with Rachel and it was going to be revealed and she had to have some sort of more sinister stuff going on with her. I didn't expect that. That was definitely a surprise to me.
Yeah. So, is there anything in the book you thought went really well that we haven't already touched on?
Well, I mean, the reveal of the killer. Who did you guess as the killer?
So my first guess, and I had to take some notes. I'm just going to bring up my notes. My first guess was I called her Detective Sidekick because I couldn't remember her name.
Detective Ponytail.
And because every time, because I'm listening to it, obviously I'm not seeing the name. So I called her Detective Sidekick, also known as Priya. And I said, because she was just obsessed with him.
Crazy obsessed.
And so I thought, okay, maybe because she's really obsessed with him, she's then fixated on her. But then I reread the prologue because the prologue, I think, gave away a lot of clues. And I remember when I listened to it, I was like, this is giving away clues that I can't pick up on yet because I haven't read enough into the book. So I ran back and reread the prologue, and the way they're talking about her, I was like, no, I just don't think it fits. But it did fit with the fact that I was talking about whether or not the prologue was a muffled voice or a changed voice to disguise the fact it was a woman. And so maybe that's why I was thinking, oh, Priya. And then, of course, later on in the book, Priya becomes a major suspect anyway. So I was like, oh, I was right, I'm right. But by the time we're doing it at that book, I'm like, oh, is this kind of, I don't know, it just wasn't fitting.
Getting too obvious. If
yes,
leaning too much.
And it wasn't fitting. So she was my first guess. And then my second guess was Kathleen Keeley, the girl who was bullied in school.
Catherine.
So is it Kathleen or
it's
Catherine? Oh, okay, all right.
Because then you get Cat.
Again,
from
audiobook. And so
audiobook at 2.5 times speed.
Yeah,
I think
because I'm a legend. Because I'm a legend. Because I got shit to do and places to be, okay? This is how I read like 3 books a week. So I guess my second guess was her after the scene in the bedroom where the face was crossed off. So when the killers crossed off the faces, and I'm like, this is vigilante. So there's got to be motive, and that was the motive that was starting to build. I don't think we had quite gotten to the urine in the Coke bottle yet.
No, I don't think we'd gone.
But I was like, something like this kid's clearly bullied, so something's going on at school. Yeah, and then I was saying, I guess the third killing, because it had to be the detective's sister, which in the end came kind of like a nice full circle because they ended up, like, I got the impression they ended up together at the end.
Yeah.
With the niece.
Yes.
So it's like they had a child again. Which kind of brought them back closer together after everything.
Yeah, so actually the opposite to you. My first guess was Kat Jones before it was revealed to be Catherine. Just when the sort of earlier in the book, she's been doing this presenting gig for the past 2 years because this woman has been on maternity leave, had back-to-back kids, so she's been born for a while. She comes back in to take over the presenting, and it's described as a woman, Kat Jones, and I just thought, I don't know why. It's got no explanation to it. She's got nice red hair, she's got 2 beautiful children, she's too perfect, and she's taking this woman's job. There's going to be more to it than this, it's her. So I had no full explanation of why, I just thought it was her. And then about halfway through the book I was like, no, actually it's Priya. I think I started guessing that it was Priya after I think Anna had gotten a phone call from the killer. Yeah. There was an element there, and I was thinking, who's not here right now? Who could be calling her? Yeah. So then I started thinking, that it was Priya, and a lot of that was built off of that Priya's obsession with Jack, and that her and Jack were clearly like starting to have that thing again. She was there was like all these little hints that the two of them were flirting, and Priya was picking up on it. Yeah. So then I was very much leaning towards Priya. I think there was a brief mention of like, a ponytail, the woman with the ponytail, something like that, and all of that was leaning to Priya. But then it started leaning too heavily, and I was again the same sort of feeling where you're going, okay, well then it can't be that person if I'm thinking too much about it. And I didn't want to believe it was Anna or Jack. Yeah. Went into it thinking it would have to be one of them, and I thought that would be too obvious, so I didn't want it to be one of them.
Did you guess the killer?
No. Even I think I've written down here, the last
I discounted her from the beginning. I think everyone did.
The last 10% of the book, I'm going, it's Anna. I've worked it out. Unreliable narrator to the max. Oh my god, it got me. And then 4 pages later, it's the mum with a whole bunch of question marks next to it. They're my notes, and I did not guess it. I was not picking up, even when it was being revealed to me, I was not picking up on it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was clever the way that she was just completely discounted. Yeah. As just mum who happens to live there and got dementia and has been seen around the neighbourhood, in her underwear, in her dressing gown and her pajamas and all this sort of stuff. And I thought, this is clever. She has but premeditation to the max here.
Yes.
I thought that was quite clever. And also because she used to be the cleaning lady, she had all the keys.
Yes.
But there was also a point in the book where Jack talked about always having keys.
Yes. And
keeping keys. So I was like, oh my goodness, they're setting it up to be Jack because he's got all the keys for all his houses because there was no sign of forced entry.
Yes.
So I thought it was clever. I also quite enjoyed the twist about Dad.
Yes.
I hadn't expected that.
Yes.
And so again, quite enjoyed that.
And when you go back and you think about it, that when Anna had come home to her mum, she was covered in dirt. That sort of, that was very subtly mentioned and moved on from because you were so distracted by the fact that there'd been this huge domestic violence situation. Yeah. So when it actually came back to she's covered in dirt because she buried him, then it's like, what a great reveal. What a great reveal. Of course she'd never want to leave that house no matter what because God forbid they find the body.
Makes me think about, can this kind of stuff actually happen in the real world? Can people go missing and everyone just believes the story that they've just left?
Yeah. I think most missing person cases aren't really missing person cases. They're murders that haven't been solved.
Yeah. There's another book I read recently. I can't think of it right now, which was exact same sort of thing. There was a missing person and everyone just assumed this person was missing. Because they bought the storyline. No, it wasn't. It was that podcast. The Australian podcast about the teacher's pet.
I haven't listened to that one.
Oh my goodness, it's great. In fact, he was tried and convicted.
Wow.
So that's the story. So it was the husband and the wife goes missing and they've got 2 kids. And he just told everyone that she'd left, it was all too much and she'd gone north or something like that. And everyone kind of questioned it, how could she do that? How could she leave? How could she just go north? Yeah. But no one ever seemed to question that she was dead, murdered. And they were, so this is a podcast called The Teacher's Pet. It's a couple of years old now, and there were a couple of coronials, and I think one of the coronials was maybe inconclusive, and the other one said, I think there's enough to charge the husband. And he was arrested sensationally, because everyone had listened to this podcast, and extradited from Sunshine Coast down to Sydney, and ultimately went on trial and was found guilty.
Wow.
And he's now serving a sentence, which he will never get out because of his age. He'll die in custody, or he'll die before his term is up. But yeah, it made me think of the teacher's pet, and I was like, do people ever believe that somebody goes missing and they're just missing? But I guess that is a story, and that's 1980s Australia.
There's a whole rumour about our previous Prime Minister, Howard Holt, that went for a swim.
Oh, swim and drowned.
Well, supposedly.
Yeah, they talk about the Chinese submarine.
Never found the body, mate. Never found the body.
Never found the body.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah. Most people don't realise Australia had a Prime Minister that went for a swim and disappeared. I mean, if that was like the US president,
it would be a big deal,
everyone would know about that. It would have multiple TV series and movies based on the premise of what happened to him. But yeah, was that the 80s, Harold Holt? And then they've got a named swimming pool. There's a swimming pool.
Yeah.
Named after him. And I'm like, that's a bit rough. Like the Australian Prime Minister that drowned in the sea is a swimming pool named after him.
If only he'd known how to swim.
I know. Anyway, we digress. We've gotten off track.
I think we have. Anyways, yes, missing people, I think often they're rarely missing and something else has happened. Yes. Whether it's like, they've met with foul play or they've just sort of, some accident has occurred. Yeah. I don't think people are often, going to new countries, changing their names and starting new lives.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that there was never, the book didn't talk about there ever being an investigation into him.
No, it was just accepted that he'd left.
Yeah, and she was silent on the domestic violence. I don't know if she was seen around the village, because this is England, seen around the village with a big bruise on her face, and people are like, oh, okay, well, let's not talk about it. And then she says he's left, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, that's probably a good thing. They didn't really go into that, but anyway, I thought it was great, and because I love, being a vegetable gardener, we all know that a dead body would be great compost. So I love that he's just in there. And he came to some good. He had some good. He was good fertiliser at the end.
Yeah.
Did you... Well, there wasn't really a spice rating in this book. I think the next thing is to guess the chapter where they hooked up. I don't think there was... Oh, I lied. There was sex in this.
There was absolutely sex in it. I was like, no, how have you forgotten it?
Sorry, yeah, there's the car scene at the beginning. That's quite early on.
11% into the book.
11% into the book, that's right. And that was quite descriptive. And then you got... it again later on from somebody else's perspective.
Different perspectives, the same scene.
We got a voyeuristic perspective, and then we got a in the passion, frozen the moment perspective.
Yes, the reveal of the sex for me was then like, okay, but if we were being realistic about this, the cop that was sleeping with her the night before, if you walk into a crime scene as that cop and you see a woman dead that you slept with the night before, unprotected as well, because he's describing that they found semen, which they just never talked about.
Yeah.
They said they found semen and didn't look into it, I guess. Yeah. But anyways, you're not then investigating that. You've got to say something. That is the stupidest idea ever. Even if you find the killer, if it's not you, you can't, you've just ruined the investigation by being part of it.
Yeah, especially since, having worked, for the AFP, you get fingerprinted, and I swear I had a cheek swab as well. I definitely got fingerprinted.
You're revealing the AFP secrets here.
No, but it's just part of the onboarding. Yep. And so it's his DNA was most likely on with Scotland Yard. You're right, we didn't really go into that. But yeah, I'd forgotten about the sex, actually. I felt a bit cross in that scene, because the implication is that he's having an affair.
Yes.
And so I couldn't really enjoy it. But yes, it was definitely hot and heavy and passionate in the car. And he, at that point, didn't realise she was married.
He thought she was separated, and we didn't know.
So why are they doing it in a car?
Because nowhere else to do it.
Well, he could have taken it back to his sister's house, but isn't there hotels? I
think
this place have a hotel. Oh, they had one hotel because that's where everyone was staying, right?
Yes, there's only the one motel. It's a very small town.
Yeah,
okay. People would know. They've got a... Yeah. But I think there was... Yeah, so it was quite early in. I wasn't really expecting it that early in the book. I think I was expecting it a little bit later. But I think it's only really maybe a 1.5, 2 out of 5 spice rating.
Yeah.
There is sex. It is minorly descriptive, but it's not
great
sex.
Over.
Yeah, it's very quick.
The voyeuristic comments are interesting, though.
The watching it occur.
Yeah, very, very judgy watching of what's going on. And maybe that was a clue.
It probably should have been.
Yeah, maybe, the way that the voyeur was talking about it was maybe a bit of a clue that... of the age and who would look at this and be disgusted by it. But the inference in what they're saying is you were inferring it's because he was having an affair.
Yes.
We didn't realise at that point that it was...
he was living with his sister.
Yeah, he was, yeah. But I'm talking more about the killer. The killer's looking at them and being judgy of it. Yes. And we've assumed it's because he's having an affair, but it's actually because she's like, how can it be with that person? And why isn't it with my daughter? And that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, so... Yeah, 2 chilies. We'll go with 2 chilies.
2 chilies.
Because it was quite descriptive, but limited.
Yes. And low sort of cock count, I think
Yeah.
only maybe like 6 occurrences.
Yeah,
Sexual
yeah.
It was just very uncomfortable. Like,
It
there was
was,
quite a few scenes
yeah.
with Anna and Rachel where I was just very, very
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. And those were mildly descriptive, like enough to visualise what is happening. They weren't clear on ages, but these could potentially be 15-year-old girls.
Yes.
So, getting rid of a hunting wives sort of theme here.
We got to start picking books down with sex with that.
I know,
And it's full
I know.
stop, we need that
It's
off
alright.
the world.
I've got a good one for next month. If you're reading this for a romance perspective, nah.
No.
But if you thriller perspective, it's a good little subplot.
Yeah, I think
nice.
the romance
It's
elements
nice.
are a good subplot to
Yeah,
the story,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Favourite character?
I'm going to go with Mum in the end. I liked the fact that she tricked everyone. I liked the fact that she was able to set this up and that everyone believed it and she got away with her husband's murder.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I just thought she was clever. And I think
Not just the husband's murder, she got away with like 4 other people, Diana. She was a bloody serial killer.
Sorry, she's a serial killer. She got away from all of them.
Yeah.
I like that. You know, it's the underdog, the unsuspecting person. Don't judge a book by its cover. I'm going to go with Mum, definitely.
See, I was going to go with the mum, but I don't like what she did to Cat Jones. I don't like the, threatening the children, you need to hang yourself, or I'll kill the children thing. That was a little bit too much for me. So actually, Anna was my favourite character. I thought she was quite relatable in a sense. Like, she was clearly very driven. She wanted to sort of leave her past in the past. That's why she'd moved. She wanted to make a bit of a name for herself.
She was to stop drinking.
Yeah.
I say that as I lick my tomatoes. Drinking.
Very much like functioning alcoholic territory. Not even a little bit, like she is a functioning alcoholic and she needs to deal with that. But it was obviously an element of like how impacted by her past she is and the trauma that she's been through and how she was sort of handling it. But I can see so many people in that. Like her handling of the situation was quite relatable. She's still trying to do her job. She's trying to like understand what's going on. Yeah, so I quite liked Anna as a character. Like, I didn't dislike her. I thought she was in a crappy situation, but I didn't dislike her as a character.
Yeah. Talking about Cat Andrews and the hanging scene.
Yes.
That would be my favourite scene.
Really?
When she wakes up.
Actually,
And
she has
so
the
the
toe
husband on
holding
the
on.
ground is trying to say, so the cameraman, Richard the cameraman's on the ground, Cat's husband, is trying to say not dead or something like that. And Anna assumes she's talking about the killer is not dead, or he's not dead. We're not quite sure, but he's saying not dead. And I went, oh my God, she's not dead, hanging from the ceiling. She's the killer and she's pretending to be hanging from the ceiling. And they had planted the seed earlier on about her ability to tie knots and, her sailing history or whatever. So she was, scouts.
Her dad and daughter, something like that. Yeah.
And so she changed the noose to a different knot so she was able to pretend to hang herself. And I also noted that when Anna went into the room, I love how I say when we went in.
Yeah, we were there.
Anna.
We were there.
That her foot's still on the stool.
Yeah.
And I was like,
she's not dead.
And so I loved it. I loved it when she woke up, and I thought she was the killer at this point.
Absolutely.
So I was like, this is amazing. The killer is pretending to hang herself, and then she's like coming back from the dead, and I thought that was really cool. So that was a really cool scene. And then, of course, it was all kind of, at that point, starting to really peak and unravel, and the killer's in the house, and you're trying to figure out who it is, and
I was feeling very chuffed in that scene because obviously my first guess was Cat Jones with absolutely no reasoning for why. So then when it was revealed that Catherine was Cat Jones and she was like faking the death, I thought it's all coming together. Yeah. This is great. I've picked the really left field person. It's going to be them. But actually my favourite part is just the last sort of, I think it's about 10, 15 pages where you just sort of, it's coming out about who did it, but it's like flipping between the killer perspective and then, like, what's going on in the current time frame, like 6 months later, that sort of stuff. And just that feeling I've got in my note of going, it's Anna, what? And then, no, it's not Anna, it's the mum, was, like, such a good twist for me. Like, just an excellent twist.
Yeah. Yeah, it was... that last couple of chapters when they're running through the forest and then when they drove her into a tree...
So much was happening.
So much was happening. You're right.
Knife incidents, the knife goes missing, the knife was in the honey beehive thing, and did you find the knife and you still think the mother just has dementia? Maybe what a crazy thing to say.
Maybe I should have given it 4.5 stars. Like, maybe it should get more. I mean, still, like I said, the undertones, the death, the cop death, the Sid's death, for me was just was just hard. So that kind of meant that I couldn't fully love it. But that reliving those last few scenes now, and especially that pretend hanging scene. Yeah, I wonder if maybe it actually deserves 4.5.
I think the last quarter of that book, you were just flying through it because so much is happening and you want to see what happens next.
Put it down. Neglect your family.
It was incredible. I was just loving the end of that book. So the last sort of, it's not technically a scene. Well, I suppose the scene where the mum is in the old age home and she's talking to the niece of...
Yes.
Just that whole sort of slight reveal sort of going on where it's like, and she got what she wanted out of it, which is her daughter's happy sort of family reunion.
Yes.
And got away with all of it.
Yeah, she got away with it.
And putting a pergola on top of the dad's body is just...
Oh, yeah, the daughter's covering it up.
Peak humour, because that's always the joke, right? If someone starts laying concrete in their backyard, you have to suspect they're laying it on top of something.
Yeah, and they absolutely were, yeah. And I did kind of like the fact she got away with it, because it didn't really... Apart from Zoe, although Zoe was, of course, making clothes out of local cats.
Actually, yeah, Zoe was really quite weird.
They were all, Helen wasn't particularly nice, and she's, the principal doing drugs and that sort of stuff, and then Zoe had this terrible childhood where she was killing stray cats and turning them into hats and scarves and stuff. And, when they opened... I'm glad they found her cat. When they opened up the shed and her cat was okay with missing its tail. I was like, okay, well, you can live without a tail.
That's another trigger warning that should have been there. I hate any sort of... and that was awful. Yeah, it was a bit rough. It was still a really good book. Like I said, I feel like I need to rethink it and go 4.5 stars. Yeah, despite all of these, awful elements of the side that were quite triggering and upsetting. It's well, it was still a really good book. And to be fair, all of these awful things happening, you then don't feel bad for anyone that died.
Yes, exactly. So that leads us to, if you love this book, what would you read next? I've written some notes on my phone. I had recommended, so any of those, twisty psychological thrillers, like Gone Girl.
Yes, Gone Girl's an excellent one.
Girl Train.
Yeah.
Because they all have the marriage component as well. The Wife Between Us. I only gave The Wife Between Us a 4, but I still really enjoyed it. And then also, None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. So any of those kinds of authors, if you like this, you'd enjoy those. Unreliable Narrators, Housemaid by Frida McFadden. But my number one recommendation for Unreliable Narrators is Never Lie. I don't think you've read it yet.
I haven't, but you talk about this constantly, and
it's my top recommendation book at the moment, and everyone's like, oh, would you recommend a book? I'm like, Never Lie! Yeah. Never Lie. It was just a really good book. I'm trying to see what else I've written down.
They're all really good picks. Actually, when you said Gone Girl, that was absolutely top of my list as one that's along this line. You just, an unreliable narrator, but you're also so on their side at the end of it. Yes. You're kind of going, a bit crazy, but you know what, fine. I'm glad they got away with it and no one went to prison. Yeah. Yeah, I actually really like the fact they got away with it, no one went to prison. Yeah, no, I like that. I'm glad Mum got away with it, and it's part of why good for Mum.
My favourite character.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so I think that's, in summary, ratings, 4.5.
I'm sticking with 4. I think you could probably lean to 4.5, but I'm sticking with 4. There was just a little bit,
there were a couple
too
of
many awful things going on.
The cat, and the SIDS, death.
And the sexual assault.
Yeah,
there was... Yeah. I mean, even just some of the bullying that was going on was, pretty awful. Which, again, helped, though, because then you don't care about any of these people dying, because you're like, well, you know what?
True. Not my number one. My number one's still probably Never Lie at the moment. Yeah. But I would recommend it to people. And especially if someone tells me they liked Gone Girl, Girl on the Train, I'd probably say, read this. And then watch the TV series.
Yes. I'm excited, actually. I really want to watch the TV series. And I think we talked about this earlier, but book club, maybe. I think it depends who is in your book club. I think you need to talk about trigger warnings first before delving into the book. But I do think it's such an unexpected twist for the killer that maybe it'd be worth it having in there if you can sort of put aside some of those incredibly triggering things. If there are people in your book club that wouldn't want to read that sort of stuff, you need to have the conversation first.
Yeah, absolutely. So, good segue into next book.
Yes.
Hold on my phone. I don't have a hard copy of this one because my library doesn't stock it, which to me says this is probably good smut territory.
Yeah! It sounds like we need to get a little bit more sex.
Butcher and Blackbird. I see this coming up a lot on my recommendations, especially if you like the book The Risk, which I love. I've only read book 1. It's a series as well. The Butcher and Blackbird is 2 serial killers who are frenemies. It's enemies to lover, serial killers, murder. So it's kind of like murder and makeout.
Yeah, it's got everything that we love here at this podcast.
Yeah, trilogy. This is book 1 in the trilogy by Brian Weaver, and it's got a solid 4-star rating on Goodreads from 665,000 ratings.
Gosh, that's a lot. That's pretty high from such a high selection of ratings.
Yeah.
And does this one also have a dual point of view?
Yeah, I get the impression. Yes, multi-POV, dark romance trilogy.
Oof. Okay, well,
Standalone but interconnected dark romantic comedies. Dual POV.
So, do you want to guess the cock count?
Oh, a bajillion.
A bajillion. One can only hope.
I feel like this one's gonna be hot and heavy. I might wait till this time, this month, or wait till I'm ovulating.
Leave it to the right moment.
Cock count. Look, I'm gonna go 10. I'm gonna go even 10.
10.
That's
That's enough.
Not like kisses. I'm not counting the kisses. The good stuff.
Full home base is going on.
Yeah, I just noticed here it's got 4.7 stars on Audible from 1,500 ratings.
Gosh, that's a lot of stars.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm very much looking forward to it too. I hope you have a really nice voice reading it to you as well, Dan.
Yeah, Joe Arden and Lucy Rivers. I'm not sure if I know them. But there's probably no point in guessing the killer because we know they both are killers. Like, they're both serial killers.
Well, we can guess. I just think we're going to nail it.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go
I think it's Butcher and
guess.
Blackbird. They're my guess. I think
It's Rowan.
Okay, Sloane and Rowan.
Yes. Friendship of like-minded, pitch black soul people. This book's based in America.
Bit different for us. We have read now Australian, British, and now this will be our first American.
Yes.
No, the Hunting Wives are American, aren't they? Yes, we've got American, Australian,
going back
British, back to America.
Yes. Oh, please see the author's website for a comprehensive list of content warnings.
Good! So we've got some trigger warnings as well.
I love that. I'm going to go and read them just for fun.
Absolutely.
I wonder if she's got one of those really fun dedication pages too. Like, that's popping up a lot in the dark romance area. I love those fun dedication pages, so we'll see if she's got that as well.
Great. Well, I hope everyone's excited to read along with us. We'll do the formal announcement on social media on the 1st of the month, and then we will buddy read throughout the month. We'll create a bit of a space for everyone to comment. And I hope you're just as excited as we are to read this one. We've been avoiding some serious spice, I think, so far in our podcast, so hopefully this one will be a full turnaround for us.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it, actually. I could do with some good swing out to ovulation because I'm excited already.
It's going to be perfect timing.
It's usually when I go down the rabbit hole into the dark, smart world.
No TV show for this one, which could be a really good sign. Might mean that it's really good.
Yeah. Too much spice, they can't turn it into a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. Stay spicy, stay suspicious, and we will see you next month.